If you're a university student and you want to work in an analytical field, these are the 5 things that you should do to make the most out of your degree. My name is Matt, and I've been working in analytics for over 3 years, and this is what I wish I had done during my university time. During my time in university, I remember feeling like grades was the most important thing. And that's not at all the case. If I was preparing for a PhD or for another degree where I needed to get super high grades, then for sure you need to make sure that you're focusing on that aspect of things. But if you just want to prepare yourself for the workforce for after graduation and you're not looking to get into another program, your focus should not be on grades. It should purely be focused on, am I learning things? Am I creating new ways of thinking? Am I learning new skills? How many times do you hear people say, oh, what's the point of memorizing all this when I'm just going to forget it after the exam? That's the type of thing you don't want to be doing. Sometimes it's not going to feel good. You're not going to get a 90% on an exam. Maybe you're going to get a 70. But if at the end of the day, you came out of there learning something better instead of memorizing something that's not going to stick, you're the winner. The second is learning how to work with people. I remember how much I hated group projects. And I'm sorry to all my group project members that are watching this video, if they are. But something about working with people that sometimes, some people are super into it. Sometimes people aren't. Some people are hard to work with. There's just so many things that you can't control in a group project. But the reality is, in the workforce, this is life. You're always going to be working with people, whether it's your colleagues or people from other departments or your boss. You have to get used to this part. And I wish I could go back to my university and kind of dive myself more into it instead of trying to separate tasks, which was my first thing I would always try to separate tasks as much as I could. No, try to figure out how to work with people. And this is where you're going to figure out what your strengths are. So that means you can double down on these in the future. And also what your weaknesses are. What don't you like? What kind of people do you like working with? And these are really important things to learn and to grow as a person. The third thing is prioritize finding good internships. Again, during my university time, I didn't know what I was doing. I was kind of just going there because everybody else is in school, so let me go in as well. And if my mindset was more on, I'm here to, yes, have a good time with people, but also to become ready to start working, I would have 100% prioritized on finding good internships. I actually only got one internship, and it was in a very, very small company. And I learned a lot, but I wish I had, worked in different industries, work in a big company, work in a nonprofit, work in as much things as you can. Because this is, again, where you're going to figure out what you really like, what you really don't like. That way you don't have to experiment as much when you're done graduating and you're in full-time jobs. So really prioritize finding a good internship. And that means talking with people, networking, looking at when there are events at your school where employers are coming in. Just go and talk, okay? Literally go have conversations with people. It's worth it. It's scary sometimes, but it's something that I wish I had done, and I really, really advise all of you to do it. Now, these next 2 tips are probably the most important. The fourth one is on make sure you're building a skill. When you're going to university, you're supposed to go in with limited knowledge, and you're supposed to come out with more knowledge. But knowledge in here doesn't do anything. You need to be able to create things. You need to be able to have a skill. So for us in the analytical field, make sure you're learning Excel, Python, SQL, R. Also learn some soft skills like knowing how to communicate, knowing how to storytell with data. If you're interested in a specific industry, learn the specific skills from that industry. Don't just go to class and expect that these 30 classes is enough to make you marketable in the job market. You need to do that for yourself as well. And I'm saying this because during my degrees, I remember it took us I think 3 or 4 years before I started touching Python. And that doesn't make any sense. I was in a very analytical field, very analytical program, yet I only learned Python in my last years. This doesn't mean that you have to wait 3 to 4 years before learning these hard skills. You should go learn by yourself. And my last tip is basically putting all of this together and building a portfolio. And luckily for us, again, in the analytical field, there's a lot of ways to do this. Maybe you can have a website with some blogs on some of the things that you're implementing, or have a GitHub with all the code that you're writing, or a YouTube channel talking about different statistical methods or SQL tutorials, kind of like what I'm doing right now. Not only is this helpful when you're applying for different jobs, but it also is going to show you what you're actually interested in working on. So in the summers, when you're working at an internship and you have maybe a bit more time, you can build things on the side and then slowly create a portfolio that you'll be able to market and put on your CV in the future. Now, if you like this video, make sure to check this one out, where I talk about the 5 different things that you should be able to do as a first-year data analyst. Thanks for watching.